Okay, guys, I had to chime in on this. This is a modern take, and I'm like, I don't know what to feel right now. You guys know that I love K-pop Demon Hunters so much. It was such a refreshing change, so incredible. I loved everything that I had witnessed in that movie over at Netflix, and I'm really disappointed to see this news today talking about Netflix is considering making two sequels of the K-pop Demon Hunters. How they came up with two sequels is a whole nother issue I have right there. But also a live action remake is also being considered. And I don't know if you saw my video that I did before. I described exactly why this particular idea that they had worked, being that it was not live action. It's so crazy because they're doing the one thing that they shouldn't do. They're saying that K-pop Demon Hunters is the new Frozen, which I said in my video. It's a lot like Frozen, sort of when like that moment that everybody started singing all the songs and kind of took over the internet with this idea. Now, one thing, and this article comes from the Wrap. Here we go. Yeah, this article comes from the Wrap, and they let me just read a little bit of it so that way. How K-pop Demon Hunters became Netflix's Frozen exclusive. Netflix is mulling two sequels, a live action remake, which I mean, how do you start a okay, here we go. How do you start a remake when you just released the movie? Like how do you do that? How do you do that? It just behooves me how people are so overrun by greed that they're just not able to see and recognize that you can't reboot something that we're just getting to know. We're just started to learn these characters, who they are, their music, the world that they set up in this story. And now it's going to be a remake. They're remaking it already. They just started it and they're already talking about remaking it. Like, I'm like, look, remake this when it's 20 years old. It's been 20 years and we're like, it's time for a remake. Let's freshen up this story. And this world is so vast that they can literally keep making movies of this franchise for the next 20 years. There's tons of meat on the bones here. And this is another reason why I'm like, wait a minute. How do you know for sure that you're only going to need two sequels? Because that's a bit short sighted. Everybody loves the idea of a Trilogy, but when was the last time a Trilogy was announced that actually produced amazing results? Not very often, okay? I mean, I'm just gonna say it just doesn't happen very often. So this is why I'm like so excited to kind of communicate this and just to say this is kind of ridiculous right now because they have something amazing on their hands, and I think if they continue with this line of thinking, they're going to mess this up. They're going to mess it up. Okay, so the article says earlier this week, Sony Pictures Animation K-pop Demon Hunters made Netflix history. And it should because it's a really incredible new IP with amazing concept of ideas. The music is fantastic and it's for the whole family. It's really good stuff. That as they can let's continue on. It says it became the first Netflix original film to reach a new viewing peak in its sixth week, a massive 26 point million views. I mean, that's crazy. They hit something like 33 million views in the first 2 weeks. Okay. right? And so each week they've been getting like 25 million. The previous week they had 25.8 million. And before that, 24.2 million. It just is incredible. Millions of people are watching this. Millions of people are rewatching this, and millions of people are rewatching this. And it's like, it's insane. Like, really, like, it's just been so naked around here when it comes to new IPs that are exciting. And so this is the first time people are getting this in such a long time. They're like, even the stuff that's doing well, the things that are doing well in the theaters, that's all nice and good. Those are all old IPs. This is brand new. And so there's so much interest in what is going to happen to these characters. All these little questions we had during the time of watching this movie, we want answers and we want to know the details. We want to hang out with this world for a while. And so that's why it's so important for them to stop limiting yourself to this trilogy idea, because it's not enough time for you and the audience to spend together. I was expecting them to do a series first. But yes, another movie would be just beautiful, at least to fill in some of the blanks that were left open in the story and answer some questions that was most necessary. So, I mean, if you're going to leave blanks in a story, I don't want to hear that you're rebooting it. Okay, you pissed me off now. Okay, like, I don't want to hear that you're rebooting something that didn't feel like it was finished in the first place. So finish the story, focus on the story, and really peek it out and make sure that people who are coming for K-pop Demon Hunters Part 2 are really gonna get a fantastic movie. We don't care that it's gonna be a trilogy. In fact, we hope it's not gonna be a trilogy so we can get more content. So it could be have they even considered this could be 10 movies? Like, could they consider something like that? That it could actually be 10 big events. And imagine every single one of these events, people are gathering around and at their homes, everywhere, waiting for the next K-pop Demon Hunters movie to drop. This is very important for them to understand that they're doing something right, changing the model for something that is like, oh yeah, let's go for a trilogy, which is so cliche. Stop going with the cliche that never worked. The only IP that ever was able to come through with trilogies actually couldn't even stick with the trilogy, which is Star Wars, right? Star Wars was the first say, okay, we've got a set of trilogies here for a story, and that worked. Ever since then, everybody's been trying to copy that model. Guess what? It doesn't work all the time unless you actually have story for that. And I know, like, look, they may have some ideas for the next couple of movies. They do not have a script by now. They do not have a script by now. So that's another thing that is really important to remember, is that you cannot be driven by money on this, but you have to be driven by what the fans will need and what is going to be the best outcome for your story long term. That's where you're going to get paid back in the money and in the loyalty. You won't get paid back with by rushing everything, by rushing 2 movies out and then a live action movie. Like, if this was live action, looking at this visual here, I would be very uninterested. This has so many rich areas of storytelling that they can explore. So many. How I don't understand why they would want to just jump into 2 quick movies, okay, 2 quick movies, and just abandon the story, the sanctity of the story. It's there. It's still there. You guys have a at least 10 movies to be able to pump out on this thing. And that's money. That's money, right? That's also keeping your subscribers fed. A live action movie, I know there's been some people who've been asking for a live action movie, and if it's a spoof, I'm like, yeah, yeah, that'll be cute. But if you're gonna do a live action movie, only for that movie to be only like partially live action and mostly animated because of the things that these girls are gonna have to do, and the demons and the fighting and all that spectacular like special effects that they're going to have to spend millions and millions of dollars animating to look like it's real. It's gonna be so exhaustive on top of, hey, we've got to make sure that our actresses don't end up destroying the brand by saying something inappropriate. Like, what is it for to do this? I mean, people are doing cosplays of this already better than it would have ever be done in live action. And live action, they're not going to deliver exactly this. They're going to give you a watered down version, or a version which somebody else will come in and do all of the creative designs differently. It's not going to have the same feel. We've seen it all time and time and time again where live action, no, you it like people are not interested in actually translating a live action production into into the original art form. We've seen it with so many different productions where they decide, look, and uh, we're gonna creatively redesign this character. We're gonna race swap this character. We're gonna gender swap this other character. This is perfect as is. That's what people like about this production, is the way it looks, the way it moves, the way it's done. I don't want to sit there and watch them try to make this cat here a real looking cat, which they're or just animate this cat. And it's like, wait a minute, are we watching it in live action animation movie? Or are we looking at an animated movie of a character that is just animated and it's supposed to be live action? It doesn't graduate your film or your piece of content by making it live action. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. I know there are tons of people who are like, yeah, if it was, it would be taken more seriously. Most of the people who don't like animated works are the same people who are not going to accept this, even if it's actually a live action production. Okay. And then there's some live action productions are great. Okay, they are, but most likely they all cost so much money to make, and it would be nice to watch something that doesn't cost $1 billion for a change, or the more realistically, like $200 million and up on this thing that people are just going to rip to shreds, because just like they do in real K-pop, there will be a lot of criticism by who plays the parts. The girls will be criticized. The guys will be criticized. The actors will be criticized. There is a sort of a shield behind animated characters that is safe for a lot of actors to perform behind. Believe it or not, is when they're exposed, they can be ridiculed. If we can just get back to the basics of finish telling this story the way it is, because we just got to know these characters in this particular format. Please don't take it away from us and start fresh and reboot, because there's no need to reboot something that's successful. Like, if it's successful, why are we rebooting? Like, you reboot something that has died and faded out and nobody wants it anymore. You're like, okay, well, let's reboot it, and then maybe somebody might find interest in it. Why are we rebooting something that's actually good, that people actually like? That tells us you don't care about the actual IP. We want you to nurture this story so we can understand what else did we miss? What were the subtle things? People have all of these theories. You mean to tell me all of those theories are not for nothing? We're just going to reboot right immediately? But I think they were trying to give fans a a feeling of that they were being heard and that they were being seen, and let's tell them that there's more to come. Well, then, yeah, just tell us more to come. But the announcement was very specific. When you lie down this specific goal of doing exactly two movies and also a reboot, it is a phenomenon. See, with a phenomenon, you don't reboot. You don't stop the story and then reboot for something that's not proven, because rebooting is not proven. It's not a proven thing to work. Okay, rebooting something, making it a live action thing, is not proven to work. It's not just about green lighting through two movies and putting it on the fast track, because we want to make sure that those are well written stories and they have the same magic. Now, as far as the music, I don't know if they'll be able to duplicate the same kind of music, or duplicate that magic, but I'm willing to give them a chance. It has to be, I'm going to say, production on anything coming up will be 2 years, at least. At least for anything good, it will have to be about 2 years. But are you going into the last one intending to close out the entire thing? That's where you could get messy and it gets sloppy. Or why not just say, hey, we're just doing a sequel and let's see how that works. That's really the best way to kind of present this to the audience. We know for sure we're doing a sequel. We've greenlit a sequel. Yay, everybody. We're going to get a sequel. Don't worry about the other stuff. Like a stage musical, they're thinking about a stage musical as well, which is I don't mind that being something that they do. Why don't we just work on the sequel though next? Okay. But the stage musical is not a bad idea. We'll not say that that's a bad idea. The people who work on stage musicals are very professional. They could almost imitate anything. So if it's put in the right hands, yes, that's actually really good. Do that live, do that stage musical. Do that stage musical. But I need the writers to be on board to write number 2 properly. Figure out how to tell the rest of the story in the same style while also giving us answers to questions that we had about this movie. Okay? I always felt like it was unfinished. So now it's good. They get to tell the rest of the story. I don't want a third movie that's only going to rush an ending. And I think a stage musical would be nice. Because basically, you're just repeating this and putting it in a format in which it's not going to really mess with pop culture. It's going to, if anything, add to it. Because the thing that we all expect from stage performances is that there are going to be differences. And it's, and I think that's more suitable of an idea, doing a stage musical. But doing a live action, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're asking people to engage in the same media, basically. I don't know why animation and movie is not the same, is considered so differently, because this was a movie. It was a movie and it was animated. And I don't understand why there's a difference between this animated and live action, to the point we need to reboot this to be a live action. It's like, what? You don't understand. That is the purpose and the reason why this works, because it's not live action. And you can believe the ridiculous, crazy stuff. Your mind is suspended of any disbelief, because you're in this wild, interesting, new, fresh world that's not meant to be real. It's not meant to be real. And that's part of the part here that's kind of upsetting, is that they don't seem to understand that. And then the next thing is that we're basically in order to look just like this movie, they're going to have to animate everything in the live action anyway. So it's like, why are you giving us a repeat of something we just had? Like, so that's also where I'm coming from with this. You're just not gonna be able to repeat this. You're just not gonna be able to repeat how cool this experience was. It's not gonna be repeatable. I'm just saying this was the perfect medium for this story. It was the perfect medium for this story, animated 100% all the way. I don't understand this thing about how animation is not really cinema. It's not really like it's not it's some sort it's lesser than somehow. To me, a stage musical is truly different. It's a completely different thing. But yeah, this is there, and for a musical, they will have to add more songs. There's not enough. It's not enough songs. They would have to add more songs for a musical. Okay, so now I'm reading further along in the article, and it says similar to Disney's blockbuster film, Netflix is ramping up merchandising for K-pop Demon Hunters. The products being sold on Netflix's official store have been among the most popular this year, even if the company was caught flat-footed early with just a few items. Netflix plans to partner with a number of outside partners, which will see K-pop Demon Hunters flood local malls and big box stores. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. This is what we're because that's where a lot of the fandom they want the plushies, they want the toys, they want the 1/6 scale version of the girls. They want the Saja boys. So this is where you can have a lot of fun with this. Definitely, I'm thinking like, Christmas ornaments, go crazy on the merchandise. So it looks like they're smart enough to understand that. And that's where you like really go for it and get that second movie greenlit and actually give us a great story in it. Don't worry about the trilogy. It would be great for these guys to consider having this movie in theaters where people can dress up and sing along to the songs. We're talking about fostering more activities where people can really show their fandom, right? Understand what fandom is and support that properly. Gotta know how to do this and which a lot of companies don't. And Netflix is in a rare opportunity to have this incredible hit on their hands that is like, as we have said before, a global phenomenon. Just get that sucker and start figuring out like, okay, what are the actual real possibilities that don't sound like we're shooting the idea of this in the foot before we get it going. We struck lightning here, okay? We struck lightning in a bottle. Let's keep this going. Don't start something brand new that's not going to be, not going to work, okay? Just if there's anything that they should do in for real life people is put this sucker in theaters. Put it in theaters where people can dress up as the characters and sing along to the songs. It will be but when it comes to your story, make sure that's good. Okay? Make sure that's good and it's in the format in which people can continue to be in love with these characters. It takes the charm away from a lot of this stuff when it's live action. Okay? It really does. And then if you're going to do it when the franchise has finally reached its final embers of life. Then bring in the live action. And it's like, okay, so we're gonna surprise you guys by doing it live action and breathe some new life into this thing. Ah, perfect. Because we were running out of steam. Oh, listen to this though. Look, with the breakout number Golden submitted for Best Song at the Academy Awards this year, live opportunities being explored according to an individual with knowledge of the plans. So that would be quite interesting because Golden is a great song. It I don't think it's their best song, but it's definitely a great song. It definitely the thing is that Frozen itself had one great song. This movie has 20. No, it doesn't have 20. This movie has like uh, all of the songs. Every last one of the songs are great. I mean, it's so crazy. Okay, if there's one snag to the streamer's plans for aggressive K-pop Demon Hunters expansion is the fact that original directors Maggie Kang and Chris Appolians have yet to sign on to additional products. What? Are you kidding me? So if they're not, I'm sorry, but if they're not attached to this, to anything else coming up, unless if they're not continuing on, this is going to be slop. People, I know people. This is going to be a greedy slop, and it says, and for Netflix and Sony Pictures Animation, it will be important to get the directing band back together before they go on tour. Yes, it's very important that these guys agree to this. And look, as somebody who is embarking on writing and is obsessed with story elements, they have to be on board for this. And I think they can make the best decisions on this. So if they're not on board yet, I don't think that's something they should do. And maybe this article, and I say this a lot, maybe this article is just a way of a way of Netflix and Sony Pictures testing the waters to see what people will do or what people will like. If people are like screaming and shouting, "Yay, we need it," or if people are going to be like, "No, we don't like the idea." Disney does this all the time. They put out these little articles testing the waters to see what people are going to say and think about this stuff before they get started on projects. So this could be one of their tactics to find out what people are going to say. If that's the case, Netflix, Sony Animation, go to the directors and have a really good talk with them as far as merchandising. You guys are on the right track. But as far as what to do next, contact these guys and make sure you have them signed on and that they are leading the project to where it needs to go, because this is not cool to be announcing a possible live action show or live action project, and you don't have the blessing of the original people. So I know you own the rights, but owning the rights, as we know, and we've learned from people like companies like Disney, that it means nothing unless you have the ideas behind the the projects. So that is very telling, very interesting. This is all the way at the bottom of this article. It's like almost the last thing because this person really wanted to get those clicks, and it says regardless, this is what this guy says. Regardless, Netflix owns all of the underlying rights to the IP, meaning the streamer can do whatever it wants with the title and its future. This is true, but will it be authentic? Will it be fresh? Will it be interesting? Will it have all of the dynamics that we liked from the original? That is the key element. Out of respect for the original makers and the care that they put into this project, I would like for them to continue. I would not like to see a second one that was not done with their blessing, and with their instructions. Okay, I really wouldn't like to see that, which is people don't understand. Yeah, you can own a lot of things. Integrity matters. Integrity matters. And as you know, fans, it's going to be up to the fans, us, to let them know what really matters. Those sources have all said that Netflix and Sony Animation intend to work on the franchise together. Yeah, I know that Netflix and Sony, they have a nice little deal going on with each other, but they really do need they need the original project handlers to actually do that, just that. They need to be involved. Okay, and one thing I did not know is this, and I'll repeat it from this article. While there wasn't a proper theatrical release, K-pop Demon Hunters did appear in enough cinemas in New York and Los Angeles to qualify for the Oscars. It didn't even have a traditional Hollywood premiere, with Netflix instead opting for a screening at its Tadum Theater. Very interesting. Very interesting. I had no idea. So it can be up for Oscars, even including possibly even one for animation, because I'll tell you the animation was very, very good. Um, so yeah, sadly that's the end, I guess, of my rant. And so, guys, that's it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. YouTube is actually going to suggest a video for you to watch. Go on ahead and watch that for me and see if that's something you are interested in. It will support the channel and keep us going so we can make more videos. So without further ado, I bid you adieu. Stay retro and stay nerdy. Take care, everybody.